What's going on, Notre Dame fans? Mike Singer and Tyler Horka here from Blue and Gold with our Monday post Marcus Freeman press conference video reaction here. Freeman met for his typical half hour on a Monday, but on a game week. Of course, we didn't have Freeman last week during the bye. Coaches were out recruiting on Monday, I believe. So first time getting to talk to Freeman since that North Carolina game. And Tyler and I will kind of talk about some of the key points from his press conference, and Tyler will give his reaction. Tyler, we were talking about this before we started recording, and folks, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content. That in Freeman's post-North Carolina press conference, he talked about the J.D. Bertrand targeting. He said, look, it was targeting, and then they still appealed it. My thought is he probably didn't get to watch many replays of it like we did on TV because it was very much a debatable target. And Freeman basically held back from giving his opinions. I think he's changing tune from what he said Saturday.
Oh, he absolutely is changing tune. And after the game, that's 100% targeting. It's the way that it's called. I thought it was actually a really good quote after the North Carolina game. He said, it's less so about what J.D. Bertrand did there and more so about how that is being officiated and how that's being called. We see it across college football every single Saturday. You're going to see a lot of times a pretty prominent player get called for targeting. In this case, it was J.D. Bertrand in back-to-back games, I think, because it happened against Cal, right? And he was literally he missed the first half of the North Carolina game and then got a targeting penalty. So it's kind of one of those things where if you do it twice, that's kind of a trend at this point. So Marcus Freeman said, yeah, that's targeting because of the way it's being called. But then today, obviously, he was asked, did you appeal it? Because that's something you can do. Go back after the game and appeal it. Notre Dame did. Today, he was a little more coy, Marcus Freeman. He was like, I'm not going to give you my full opinion on what I thought of the call. So, yeah, Mike, you're right. It was one of those things where that's not what he did immediately after the North Carolina game before he got prepped for his press conference was, oh, let me go look at the J.D. Bertrand play and get my full thoughts on it. So it was a good quote then, and I don't think it's a big deal that he's backtracking now. And because, yeah, you've got to appeal that, especially if you firmly believe that, like a lot of people do, J.D. Bertrand might have led with the face mask, and that's what the reporter who asked him today said. What do you think on the particulars of the play? Freeman was like, well, we'll let we won't say anything more on the matter. But yeah, appeal denied. J.D. Bertrand will miss the first half against BYU.
Raise your hand if you knew that you could appeal the targeting. Maybe I did know that, and yeah, I did know that and just kind of forgot about it. But yeah, that's something that I thought that was interesting. Benjamin Morrison, true freshman cornerback from Phoenix Brophy Prep High School, a summer enrollee who's gotten a lot more playing time and then started while he was still not listed as a starter. Well, now, Tyler, he's listed on the depth chart as Notre Dame starting cornerback. And he was talked about a lot in the press conference today.
Yeah, he started the last two games in place of Clarence Lewis. And I've said it here, I've said it other places that I still think Clarence Lewis has played pretty well. He's made a lot of really good tackles. He's in on a lot of plays. Maybe not the patented PBU that you want to see out of a corner, but he's in the right place at the right time a lot. So for Ben Morrison to take Clarence Lewis's spot and become one of this team's starting quarterbacks says more about Ben Morrison than it does Clarence Lewis. Because again, I think Clarence Lewis is playing really well, but Ben Morrison is a true freshman, confidence off the charts. Marcus Freeman talked about him today and said, yeah, you can give credit to his dad and having good genetics because his dad played NFL football. But this is a kid whose siblings have, they're D1 athletes across the board. Sister just won a gymnastics national title at Michigan. He's got a lot of other siblings who have done really good things at the D1 level in other sports. So good genes, yes, but I think he was raised right. He's a Notre Dame kid through and through. Marcus Freeman gave credit to Mike Mickens for bringing him in as a recruit and saying, hey, this is a guy that Notre Dame needs. Little did we know Notre Dame needed him a lot sooner than a lot of people thought because he's out there starting on Saturdays. And look at the depth chart. That's going to be the case going forward. Probably, if he stays healthy, the last 8 games of the regular season.
Quick note on his family. His dad was played at Arizona, early 90s, the Desert Swarm defense. And I don't know their eligibility situation, or if they're I'm looking at my commitment story I wrote on Ben Morrison when he picked the Irish last summer. But at the time of that article, his sister Naomi was a gymnast at Michigan. Sister Grace, Appalachian State volleyball team. And then Faith, a gymnast from Washington from 2014 to 16. And then brother Sam played at Arizona and San Diego State on the football team. So yeah, very athletic family. Game nights there, I'm sure, are heated. So near the end of the press conference, Tyler, you asked, you were talking to Marcus Freeman about, just this neutral game kind of environment. And I know he even mentioned earlier in the press conference that 8:30 p.m. is curfew, and he will personally be checking to make sure everyone's in town and not getting in trouble in Vegas.
Yeah, there's probably going to be around 100 people going to bed at 8:30 in Las Vegas on that night, and I think all of them are going to be wearing Notre Dame logo, whether it's a player or a coach, because you don't go to Vegas and go to bed at 8:30. But Marcus Freeman seemed pretty adamant about that. He said he's going to be doing the bed checks himself. So if there are any Irish players out there thinking that they can, sneak a couple slot machine pulls or sit at the blackjack table for a little bit, that's not happening. Marcus Freeman is going to make sure of it. And I think that is the point that I was trying to get at when I was asking him those questions at the end of the press conference. Was I think this trip is less about Las Vegas and more about playing a really good ranked opponent in a neutral site, which is something that Notre Dame is kind of accustomed to, right? You go back to the bowl game, you're playing number 9 Oklahoma State in Phoenix. There's a lot of unique aspects about playing a bowl game, especially of that magnitude. Just last year, Notre Dame played Wisconsin at Soldier Field on the road 2 hours away, but it's technically a home game for Notre Dame, right? So this is something that, take Las Vegas out of it, I think it's more so about how do you approach playing a team like this at a place that, outside of Isaiah Foskey and Michael Mayer going to Las Vegas for that little video over the summer, all these kids, these players on Notre Dame, they've never been to that stadium probably, right? It's a 2 or 3 year old stadium that they're going to be playing there for the first time. So how is Marcus Freeman going to prepare them for that? And he said, look, we're going to treat it like a road game almost, even though it's going to be a home game on the schedule for us, or however you want to look at that. He's just going to go through the motions of, what did they do at North Carolina, for example, that worked so well? How do they get to play well at a place that isn't Notre Dame Stadium? I think Marcus Freeman is going to draw on whatever he did to get out to a 28-7 lead against Oklahoma State, or however they finished that game against Wisconsin, to get them into that mindset. It's not about Las Vegas. It's more so about, hey, let's do our thing no matter where we're doing it.
Yeah, if Notre Dame were going into this game thinking, this is about Vegas, that'd be a bad thing. Kevin Bauman out for the season with a knee injury, I believe. Right? Tyler's a knee injury?
Yeah, it was ACL.
So Eli Rairdon is now the number 2 tight end behind Michael Mayer. He's healthy, tore his ACL in a basketball game last December, January. Pretty quick recovery for him. He's at 100%, and it looks like he's kind of tight end 2 moving forward for the Irish.
Yes, we saw Holden Stays come out first against North Carolina and actually get the start. But to me, it's less about who's starting games and who's getting the bulk of those reps. It was Eli Rairdon. I think he played over 30 snaps against North Carolina.
30 to Stays 9.
Yeah, exactly. So Eli Rairdon, as the depth chart says this morning, is Notre Dame's tight end number 2. And I kind of like that. Look at his, again, say what you want about Pro Football Focus, but go look at his run blocking grades. They're phenomenal. And I think the sample size is getting large enough to where he's played probably over 50 snaps or close to 50 snaps this season, to where he's out there run blocking a lot, because they're not asking him to catch a lot of passes. That's Michael Mayer's job, and he does a really good job at it at the tight end position. When Eli Rairdon's out there, it's more so, hey, put a hat on this guy and make room for our running backs, or maybe even Drew Pine on a read, whatever it is, whether he's pulling across the line of scrimmage. He's doing a really good job at it. He's Notre Dame's number 2 run blocker per PFF, behind your boy Joe Alt. That is really good company when it comes to run blocking. So you're going to see a lot of Eli Rairdon. And I think you might see some pass catching opportunities from him too, because you cannot hide that body that he has, that physique. It is literally, you could put him on an NFL field tomorrow probably, and he would do all right. This guy's still got 3 or 4 years of college football left too. So really impressive kid. I think he does all the right things. And Marcus Freeman today said he has all of the traits that you would want from a tight end, whether it's a tight end at Notre Dame, who a lot would claim to be tight end U, or a tight end anywhere. You look at that guy and you're like, that's a really good tight end. So I think this is a springboard for him. Michael Mayer's not going to be on this roster at this time next year, right? Could Eli Rairdon be Notre Dame's tight end number 1 on October 3rd of 2023? I think it's possible. And this is sort of an audition for him in a way, because he's going to be getting 30, 40 snaps a game for the rest of the season if this holds. So he's tight end 2 now, and he could be tight end 1 sooner than a lot of people might have thought.
All right, good stuff there from Tyler Horka from Blue and Gold, talking about Marcus Freeman's press conference from Monday. And for more coverage from it, head to blueandgold.com. Just $1 for 1 year of premium access. That gets you all the team information, all the recruiting nuggets, and access to our loose emoji message board to talk with thousands of other Notre Dame fans. Please hit that thumbs up on this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel here, and we'll catch you next time.